Hi, Odyssey Camper here. I'm about to introduce you to the Phase 2 Odyssey, but first I just wanted to talk to the regular viewers about a couple things that'll be coming up on the channel. You're probably going to see a lot of battery pack, solar stuff, energy related stuff in the next couple of videos, and the reason is I started doing some of that and getting ready to make the battery pack for the Phase 2 project, and I thought I should probably just film all this at once and get it up there. So, as a car drives by. So if you're waiting to see the conversion on the Phase 2 Odyssey, bear with me. There'll be some other good info in there along the way. But let me introduce you to the bare bones Phase 2 Odyssey. So this Odyssey is a smoky topaz color, which should be a little stealthier than the gold one I got last time. The 2004 Phase 1 Odyssey buildup was more a matter of mechanical soundness. I found a great van. I didn't care for the color, being gold, but it fit the purpose. And the purpose of the Phase 1 buildup was to show you how easy it can be to go out and get on the road. Remember that we don't put everything on the YouTube channel, so there's a lot of good information on odysseycamper.com. If you've never been there, check it out. Right side of the page, you can just scroll down and see the Phase 1 build up, what that looks like. And Phase 1 was really to show people how easy it is to get out on the road, spend a few $1,000s on a used minivan, and get out and see the sights. Phase 2 is going to be more of a build up for permanent or semi-permanent RVing. Look in here for a second. It's a little dark. Let me open up the back. Of course, plenty of people are going to say, hey, there's a Michigan license plate on there. We got your number. But not for long, because that's going to be a Texas license plate in about 2 weeks. All right, so I've got the rear seat folded down, the middle seat's taken out. I've got the same 48 inches between wheel wells as I had on the 2004. But what's nice is the way the seats split. So the way the back seat splits allows me to actually leave up this rear seat. So I have a place to sit, read, whatnot, without having to lay down on the cot or the bed. Bed will probably go on this side. Still thinking about that. You know, a lot of people advise if you're stealth camping to put it on the passenger side. So if you're parked on the side of the road and somebody clips you, they don't hit you. It just hit the van. So I have to think about that. I kind of like the layout though of having the small seat up on this side. Now you could actually leave one of the middle seats in on the EX. Second row right hand side, you can slide it all the way to the passenger side and there's still room to fit the cot, but I decided to use that space. So that's going to be where some other things go. Just like the 2004, you've got about a little more than 8 feet from the very back with the door closed up to the front of the rear seats. And so you can carry a 4x8 sheet of plywood, but it also means you could easily fit a 7-foot bed. Now, one thing I had said in the earlier 2004 video is that between the front doors, the 04 had more room. And I assume that was the case because of the drink holders and whatnot and the doors on the 2012. Which is a Gen 4 Odyssey or Gen 3 Odyssey, I think. Might be a reskin of the Gen 3, I'd have to check. But the point is that there is a full 65 inches between the doors. So whatever they did, they kept the same distance between the doors. And it's one of the things I like about the Odyssey. 65 inches is pretty wide. And so if you put your torso up near the front of the vehicle, you're going to have a little bit more shoulder room. And then, of course, it tapers down to 48 inches. There's not much you can do about that because the wheel wells are down there. One thing I don't like about this generation of Odyssey is that there's no compartment here like there was on the 04. So with the 04 Odyssey, I was able to stash some things that I wanted close at hand in here. And you can't do that on the 2012, so I'll have to come up with something else creative. Still got some storage room down here. Eventually, we'll get rid of that rear seat and make some more room in there. I have to explore into leaving one of the seats and taking the other one out because they're kind of tied together. Entering the front of the vehicle, you've got a different style dash, information center in the middle. What's neat about this generation is you've got the rollover airbags, side curtain airbags. So that's one nice feature. The other feature is on the EXs anyway. You've got these little screens on the side window. Now I'll probably have a panel in there anyway, but it's kind of a nice option to have these sunshades. And on the floor here, I've actually got my Generation 2 blackout panels, Phase 2 blackout panels. And all this is a piece of Reflectix with some thick felt on the other side, contact cemented together. They're very light. I decided I didn't need the insulating qualities that I made in the first generation ones. So when I did phase 1, I put a thick foam backing on these for insulation, and since most of my camping is above 15 degrees, actually most of it's above 50 degrees, they ended up making the van like a cooler, or you know, insulating it, so it stayed very warm with the panels in place. So I decided to go with this type of an arrangement. Now, people will tell you Reflectix doesn't have any insulating properties by itself, and that's true. Well, mostly true. I mean, there's some minimal, but you don't use Reflectix for insulation. You use it for a radiant barrier. So when these are in the window, facing out, they'll reflect sun and keep it a little cooler inside. When I flip them around, they're black out for stealth, but they'll also absorb sun in the daytime, so keep it a little warmer. So you can use them for a couple different functions. This, of course, is the one for the rear quarter window. Another thing I like about the 2012 Odysseys is they have the deactivating cylinders, their version of deactivating cylinders, and so you can actually get 30 miles to the gallon on the highway. I wouldn't expect that all the time. I'd say expect about 27, but I've done 30, so I'll put up a little picture here. That's from basically a trip across Ohio where I got 30 miles to the gallon. See if you can do better than that. Turned out the actual mileage when I filled up was 30.5 because the trip computers are not perfect, but yeah, pretty decent mileage out of the V6 with a 5-speed transmission. So that's the 2012 Odyssey that'll be used in the phase 2 buildup. Before I really get rolling on the buildup, I've got to go down to Texas and then down to Florida around Christmas, and then I'm going to go out to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, RTR. Hope to see somebody out there. I'll probably be there on Gadget Day doing something with a battery pack. We'll just leave it at that. But because I've got a lot going on the next month, I may not build out the bed in it before I leave for RTR. I may just go with a cot like I did with phase 1 to get out there, enjoy that, and then when I get back I'll get into some serious building inside. Hope to have you along as a viewer. Thanks for watching.